Bad Bunny's 30-night Puerto Rico residency is projected to generate over 200 million USD in economic impact.
For $100 more, you can see the Bad Bunny residency in Puerto Rico. Then you brought up Beyonce. Her ticket prices caused all kinds of controversy on the internet because people were paying $1,000+. I think maybe some of that was a resale.
But people were like just casually being like, oh yeah, I spent $1,600 on the ticket.
Welcome back, music entrepreneurs. You're back on the MEC podcast. The M stands for me. The E stands for Erinn. The C stands for we'll see Dame next time. If you know, you know. It is not for any other reason other than positive things in Dame's life that he's not here, other than lack of sleep, I guess. But if you know what's going on with Dame, you know. If you don't, he'll fill us in later. But life is good still. How you feeling, Erinn?
I'm feeling good. I'm very grateful. How about you?
I'm grateful to, just being here is a win, honestly. So I got to keep that into perspective. A lot of my wins lately have been pretty mundane, but they are meaningful. So I'll explain in a second. But a win for you is free premium music distribution on all platforms. The labels are making millions of dollars per hour. I know people push this narrative that music has lost all of its value now. If music has lost all of its value now because of streaming, labels wouldn't be making millions of dollars per hour off of streaming. So figure this out. Do it for free. Tolost.com. Use the code MEC for 3 free months of premium music distribution. Get your music on all the platforms. Unless you want to opt out of some of the platforms, I'm pretty sure distributors allow you to do that, and I don't blame you. Erinn, what are your wins?
A win this week. By the time this episode comes out, I'll have announced it. I'm officially a voting member of the Grammys. I got invited to be a member of NARIS. So really excited about, well, actually, respectfully, I wasn't super excited about it. It's just like it's just like a check on the, and I don't want to that sounds crazy. I'm very grateful. I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago, before I knew the process and before I was like as involved in the industry, I was like, dang, I gotta become a member of the Recording Academy. Now that I don't spend very much time in music at all, I don't really care, but it was this overwhelming so many people wanted me to be a member. So it was like so many people were going out of their way to make recommendations and like just to be like, you need to just apply this year. So then I went to apply, and at the last minute, I'm hitting up all these people who were like, I got you on a recommendation. You need to apply. And they're like, oh, my bad. I got you. So it got down to literally the day of I'm getting in all of my recommendation letters. But I'm just grateful. It's a cool accomplishment, even though I don't spend as much time in music, but I'm super grateful. Right now it's less than 20% Black women, which I didn't realize. So I'm really proud of that as well. And then this new class is the most diverse class that they've ever inducted as far as women, minorities, and people under the age of 45. So even that is really cool to me because this is, I think, the youngest class that they've ever inducted. So, I'm really grateful to be a part of the Recording Academy, being able to vote for the Grammys, but also participate in lobbying and different things like that. It's funny, had I not gotten my information in and applied and done all the things I needed to do, I probably would have been really pissed because the announcement video has videos of me at the Capitol with the Grammys, because I went to Grammys on the Hill this year and lobbied for one of the acts that just got passed, the HITS Act. So I think it's really funny that like I'm included in this like announcement video, and I might have not even been in had I not done what I needed to do. So very grateful for that. I'm gonna count it as a win. I told my parents and they didn't react at all, and I'm like, well, that's great. Like, y'all don't care about anything that I do. That's a big accomplishment, but okay. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But there you go.
I can relate. I told you about this story, right? Where like, I think I had just gotten my first hit song and I'm at the mall with my mom and she goes, why don't you get a job here at the sporting goods store? So yeah, parents.
Yeah,
My win is I survived a garage sale weekend, and my Yeah, my relationship is still intact. I was still sort of working, because like I can't take a day off. So I'm up and down, and my girlfriend was there, and people were helping out. But man, have a garage sale. If you own a house, have a garage sale, or don't if you want to keep your sanity. But try it
I feel like
if
garage sales are right behind moving. It's like moving
Mhm.
and then garage sale because they're the worst.
Moving for me was actually less stressful than the two garage sales I've had, just because I didn't have much to move, so and there wasn't a crazy deadline, so it was fine.
That helps when there's not a crazy deadline. I just moved out of my Nashville house. It
You
was
moved to
2 days.
another state though.
It was a multi-day process, but the
Yeah.
first day of getting stuff out, not that bad. I was like, took me a little longer than expected. This is great because I sold or gave away all my furniture. The last day, just getting my bed, which I love. It's so expensive. I have the same bed in Nashville and Atlanta, and I'm about to get I'm taking my Nashville bed to Austin now. It's just like a really great bed, but it's extremely expensive, so I wasn't going to leave it. And getting my bed out was the toughest thing and had to call in the reinforcements. And I'm just like, yeah, I thought I was going to skate by and be like, oh, my last move was great. No, I never want to move again. And if I do, when I do, somebody else, like I said, my husband, movers, all the things, I'm not doing it, or everything is just going to stay where it's at.
I want to know about this bed and if they'll sponsor this podcast if they're that amazing.
I hope so. They're called Dream Cloud. I got them just because,
Okay.
build your own dreams, and then the cloud. But they're incredible. Depending on what bed you get, they range from like 1,200 to 2,000. Mine is like in the $1,500 range. It's one of their nicer beds. It's incredible.
All right. Well, speaking of expensive tastes, let's start with our very first topic, which is your topic, Erinn. And we're dealing with something a little more expensive than a Dream Cloud bed, but you could get a lot of beds with the amount of money generated in this particular conversation. So,
Bad Bunny's 30-night Puerto Rico residency is projected to generate over 200 million USD in economic impact. So I have been reading about this over the past weekend, which is extremely delightful. Like, I love when people go back to their home and like really, really, really show love. I feel like I'm in the process of that right now myself, coming back to Atlanta and having so much more value to bring to this city. I think I was very much building in this city for years, but just taking 2 years off and really focusing on Austin, but living in Nashville, coming back, I'm able to add so much value. And so it's super cool to see one of the biggest global superstars of this era, and probably, somebody who will go down with like Freddie Mercury, Michael Jackson, those type of names for what he's done for the world, especially his genre. It's so incredibly impressive to see Bad Bunny say, I'm going to go back to Puerto Rico. I'm going to go to my hometown or my home country. Well, was it home state? What do you call it? The property? It's annoying because of the way that America works, but you know what I'm saying? What is it? Home territory, and love on the people here. Even the sound of this album, I was late to it because I'm not a huge Bad Bunny fan. I understand enough Spanish to be like, yeah, like his music is a little too vulgar for me, but it sounds good, right? But this new project, I started hearing tracks from it and I'm like, yo, he's in a really cool direction, incredible music. But if you don't know anything about the economy in Puerto Rico, even though it's a U.S. territory, the way that the U.S. has treated it, and I don't want to try to get political, it's essentially siphoned off a ton of its resources, taxed the hell out of the people, and made it very difficult for it to be a thriving economy, even though it is somewhat of a vacation destination for people. and a tax haven for other Americans to go live. That's neither here nor there, but a lot of business professionals are doing very interesting things in Puerto Rico, and shout out to them. I'm just saying. So what Bad Bunny is doing is not only going back to his home place, but he's also stimulating the economy to the point where, especially after the natural disasters that happened over the last couple of years there, they experienced a ton of flooding. There was like a lot of, I think it was a tornado or a hurricane that hit them that caused a lot of devastation, and it was a slow rebuild. It was on the people. The U.S. was not giving them the type of aid that they needed, even though it's their territory. So for Bad Bunny to go back to Puerto Rico and be able to do what he's doing, that $200 million is, or what was it? Yeah. I think $200 million is essentially stopping their economy from flatlining, which it was projected to flatline by 2026, meaning that they would need so much aid and that even people with jobs wouldn't even be able to afford. There was a lot of just different implications because Puerto Rico is so small and America doesn't care about its own. This wasn't like a major topic of discussion. So
Wait, so
I'm not
was
sure.
that the impetus for Bad Bunny to do this
I don't.
residency? Was it?
I'm actually unsure. I don't know. And to me, I think as somebody who is as tapped in with his people as it seems that he is, I think that it had a lot to do with it, to be honest. He's like, I am the biggest cultural export out of Puerto Rico. How can I help my country? Right? I think it could be some of that, but I think it could just be good business. Do you know what I'm saying? And him wanting to connect to his people. If you look at the way that he shot all of his teasers, even when he was doing the rollout for this project, we discussed it, I think, a little bit over a year ago, but the rollout for this project was one that was so impressive to me. He was integrated culturally so much, but also nationally and globally into brands, and it was bringing stuff back. He had the TOs and the Tias in his videos. He had some of his family members. He had children. It was just really beautiful, vibrant, a lot of like old cultural things that came from Puerto Rico. And then that's how he shot his music videos. That's how he recorded the music. So I think it had to be intentional, at least in some way, because he's asking us not to forget his country. But instead of just referencing his country for a cool music video, unfortunately, a lot of times, like how rappers will go to their hood to record a music video, or how, people will just go somewhere and export the culture but won't really invest in the culture. It's super refreshing to see him do this. From a global standpoint, he put the eye like smack dab on the place that he was born and where the music was created. From a local standpoint, I think the first 5 residency shows were only for people who live in and are from Puerto Rico, which I thought was absolutely incredible. And if I'm not mistaken, the price of the tickets was also different. He's doing a lot of give backs, like so basically that $200 million is broken out into what the local economy is being stimulated by. Like, this is local restaurants, hotels, grocery stores, vacation spots. So some people are like, oh, well, only people with Airbnbs are going to benefit. No, it's like the stadium is having to hire more people to work. There's security jobs. Schools are getting the kids to do different things. It's just like from multiple industries, it's stimulating what they have going on over there. There were new infrastructures that had to be built. Transportation has had to be tightened because so many people are coming over. So yeah, it's just a really beautiful thing to see. I feel like Bad Bunny is doing it right. He's saying, don't forget me, don't forget my country, don't just celebrate who I am, celebrate where I come from. And I will say this. Back in 2022, I did a course with Zoo Labs. It was called I Wouldn't Tour with If I Were You. And I said, due to the expenses of what touring is looking like post-COVID, and how beneficial it is just to win in one city, I said, I believe that the future of music is long-term residencies in smaller locations with massive artists. And we started to immediately see that. We saw Usher do a residency in LA, Adele do the same thing, and not LA, Las Vegas. And not that residencies in Las Vegas aren't a thing, but Usher went on one of the longest run residencies for a new younger artist that we've seen as of late. He broke so many records. Adele did the same thing. And I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Drake do a residency somewhere. If we see a Nicki Minaj or a Chance the Rapper do a residency somewhere. And Chance the Rapper is doing experiential, somewhat residency type events. And now we see Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico doing a residency, bringing it back to his hometown. So I'm just saying, I predicted this. I
Yeah.
believe that the future of music is going to continue to evolve in this way because it is so expensive, but you can also map out such a massive economic impact. And I'm not just saying just how Bad Bunny did it for Puerto Rico, but Usher being able to say, hey, I get to fly my kids in on the weekends when they're not in school. My whole crew is here and they're not having to travel as much. So morale is higher. So we're getting better production. We're getting better energy. You know what I'm saying? There's just so many
Oh yeah.
benefits. Your pockets are better. Your team is better. And I really like this. It's like, hey, come to me. And that's exactly what I'm building in Austin. I have a residency. Wearing my East Austin shirt today. I didn't even realize that. I have a residency at a place called the Pershing in East Austin, and we do an event called Auntie's House, and we're breaking over 1,000 people every single event right now. That happens once a month on a Sunday. And the reason that I believe that it's starting to do that, and 1,000 was my goal this year to break at the top of the year. I got to break 1,000 people in a single day. And now I've done it 3 times this year and will continue to do it because I've doubled down on investing in that area of the city and making the event recurring. So if you're looking for some notes from here, if you're a small artist and you're like, I'm not Bad Bunny, do something recurring, double down on that, same time, same place, same city. And maybe it's not the same exact venue, but it's the same city, same ethos, name, create a culture around what you believe in. But shout out to
Yeah.
Bad Bunny. This is a really cool example to see.
I mean, this is what DJs do. They have residencies and they create cultures within a certain venue and it's themed and people see the consistency, because people aren't generally that adventurous when it comes to spending their money on a night out. They want to know what they're getting into, that they're going to enjoy it, especially in my area. If you're in a place where there's not that much diversity, you want to pick a place that feels like home to you. And so creating that culture is great for DJs, but now it's kind of bleeding over into artists. Not to say that other artists haven't had residencies, Vegas residencies, and these large scale area, these like big, places like Vegas where residencies are typical because they have the space, they have the resources. That's one thing. But I think you're saying try them out in non-traditional residency spaces. And this Bad Bunny, I was looking up what's going on, and just to put it into perspective, Gaga has a residency in Vegas, right? And everyone has residencies in Vegas once they hit a certain level. Like Bruno Mars has one. She's getting paid probably over $100 million per residency. So I guess that would be for a year, 74 performances. And that's a lot of money. But again, very different economic context. Is Bad Bunny making $100 million? There's no way. There's no way. I'm actually surprised at how low his net worth is. But then again, like there are some cultural differences between someone like Gaga, someone like Bad Bunny, and perception and global market. But his salary for the residency isn't publicly available, but they keep emphasizing the economic impact being 200 million. So for example, there's a news article from Secret NYC. It says Adidas is hiring for Bad Bunny's PR residency this summer. Job compensation is $25 an hour. So that's, I guess, factored into the economic impact. All 30 of his shows are, so 30 compared to 74, but all 30 are sold out. And to put it in perspective, the venue space has a capacity of nearly 20,000. So pretty intense numbers at that level. I'm not saying he's not making money, but to me, this sounds more like a compromise. I shouldn't speculate, but it's a podcast, whatever. So my speculation is that he is focusing more on or prioritizing the economic impact of what he's doing, not necessarily his own financial gain from this particular event series.
And I will say this too. This is the thing that I think I find to be so incredible about this. Regardless of if he makes the money now, he's securing his future with this, right? In two very dynamic ways. One, his hometown, his home space, place will never question if he cares about them. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, there's a very visceral, very real example that we've mentioned on here who's a DJ who is clearly not caring about the place that he comes from right now, right? Like clearly choosing sides, clearly never mentioning the country that he comes from that is suffering greatly right now. Now, Puerto Rico isn't war torn right now, but it's been dealing with just since it's been
Imperialism is the
colonized.
same system. It's
Yeah,
so let's
since
be
it's
honest,
been
it's the same
colonized,
system.
like economic depression, all just insanely. So for him to say, yeah, like, I'm not going to take the bag. I have enough money. I'm fine. I'm going to take this back to my people is so admirable. And you would think that more rich people would do it, but it's not very common. It's not common at all. And it's not just about, oh, give these kids on the street corner some money, give this homeless person some money. He's like, instead of me just throwing $1 million at the government, like, let me stimulate, let me bring other money in. Also, because now people may say, oh, Puerto Rico, I actually really loved it. I may come back, so many different things there. And then when you start to inject money into an ecosystem, you may not know like the way that it works, but it's like there's this thing that can happen where it's like inflation, conflation. It can rob the people and then it's only momentary and then going out. The fact that he's doing a 30-night residency and it's over the course of, what is it, 3 months, 2.5 months, something like that. It stimulates the economy in multiple seasons, which is actually really, really beneficial because they had to do a ton of prep work ahead of time. So they're bringing in crews and people. And then there's a ton of like exit work that has to happen as well. So there's a lot of benefit there. But the second way that he's securing his win is he's requiring people to come to him. If you are willing to spend the time, effort, and energy to buy a flight, a ticket, and get a hotel, Airbnb, whatever, then you got to spend money to eat, all these different things. Yes, you're probably in a different caliber of money, or maybe you say, hey, I'm going to save for this. Bad Bunny is my favorite artist. I want to go see him in his home country. But like I saw one of my like favorite managers who I follow, he flew out and flew his team out to go experience the show because they're like, we just want to be inspired. I think things like that are so important because it's like, it's coming back to him. He's saying like, I need you to have some allegiance to me and to care about what I care about. So it's like now these people are going to be like, Bad Bunny is goated. You know what I'm saying? Maybe somebody who was like, oh, I rock with this. I honestly, if I could afford it right now, even though I'm not a huge Bad Bunny fan, I would go see that. I'd go see that over Beyonce. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to Beyonce, but like, I want to see what it looks like for you to do this in your home place and really have this type of like impact in the place that you're having it because it just means so much. So I feel like he's securing his money for years on end for the future. Like it's a beautiful thing. And I don't think it's a money play for him. I think it's a money play for his people. And I think he's going to go down in history for this. And I'm hoping that so many other people emulate it and start to care about their people. Again, it's not about you having to be like, I'm the rich person, so let me go spend my money with my people. Yes, do that. But it's like, let me take my influence, my efforts, all the things to bring more resources to the people that I care the most about. I love it. I believe in it. It's what I'm doing and trying to do. And more power to you, Bad Bunny.
Yeah, and the internet and net worths and all that stuff is not reliable, but I'm fairly sure that the relative net worths show a disparity that's somewhat accurate. So, like, I'm comparing, because what she said bothered me. Diane Warren with Bad Bunny's net worth. Diane Warren's worth more than Bad Bunny, according to everything I've found on the internet. And yet, like you said, a lot of artists, you would think when they reach the tens of millions of dollars mark, you don't need more than $10 million, and these people have that times 5, times 10, times 20, right? You don't need any more than that. And when we talked about the Tank situation, because that's what I didn't like, where Diane Warren's on record saying, I'd never give up ownership because that would feel like selling my soul. But then when it came down to Tank saying, hey, where's my ownership? She's like, you didn't do anything. You just composed the instrumentation for this song that probably became a hit. You don't get anything. And he's like, oh, okay, I guess that's just how it is. I'm like, you didn't have to look at your net worth compared to Tank's. You didn't have to do that. And then look at your net worth compared to Bad Bunny. I'm looking at the ticket prices, and it says from $300 to $500. And I'm like, yeah, that's a lot, but for a destination event, not really. And there were so many controversies over the last couple of years about rising ticket costs, where you might spend $200 for an event in my area, but for $100 more, you can see the Bad Bunny residency in Puerto Rico. Then you brought up Beyonce. Her ticket prices caused all kinds of controversy on the internet because people were paying $1,000+. I think maybe some of that was resale, but some
No,
of it was.
I know people who weren't on the floor. Like, she just left Atlanta. She was here, what, 4 or 5 days? She went Thursday through Monday. So, you're pulling South Carolina, North Carolina, Nashville. So all my Nashville homegirls were coming down. But people were like just casually being like, oh yeah, I spent $1,600 on the ticket. I'm like, hold, full stop? What? Like, and people were like, oh yeah, like 1,200, 15. Like, I didn't hear anybody say less than $1,200 for their ticket. The people that were, and most people are buying 2 tickets, or like, they're coming in groups. Like, I know a lot of couples that went. So I'm like, and I know a couple of people who were on the floor, but most of these people were in just like degular seats. And the experience lends to, you got to get dressed for it. Again, a lot of these people are coming from Nashville, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, which means you got to get a hotel. They say you're not black if you don't have a cousin in Atlanta. So a lot of people probably staying with their cousins, but still, I just think, shout out to Beyonce, get your money, girl. I'm just like, yo, it's just not for me. That's just not for me. Like, I could go to a lot of places for that amount of money. And again, I'm just not a huge Beyonce fan. For people who are, and that's no disrespect to her, it's just like, Rihanna is my goat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll do a lot to get to a Rihanna concert, but I also hate massive concerts. So you got to give me something that's like incredible, which is why the Bad Bunny experience, even though I'm not a huge fan of him, is so appealing to me, because I'm like, there's so much of an experience that's going to happen there. Not that Beyonce's concerts aren't an experience, because I know the girlies will eat me up. Like, you'll never experience anything different. But I just don't like big stadiums. I don't enjoy the type of crowd that she attracts. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not for me. But yeah, there's a lot of people spend money on what they want to spend money on. So I'm never going to judge, because I'm the same way. People would be aghast at how much I spend on massages and food. But like, it's just what I prioritize. You know what I'm
Not
saying?
me, actually.
So yeah. Yeah. So, but it's like, I think it's really interesting, just the dynamics of this all. But I think more people who say they care about their people should show it. And I think that this is a very cool way of showing it doesn't have to be about give all your money to poor people. Because a lot of people are like, well, they worked hard for that. They shouldn't. Even with the Diane Warren situation, I don't know how to rectify that, because I think knowing who she is and when she came up, I just assume she had to experience so much abuse in this industry that I'm unfortunately kind of like, I could see why she would be like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
Well, it's
justifying
like the
it.
Ross Golan factor. It was the same thing where he's like, songwriters have gotten shit
Yeah.
on, so now it's
I,
time for
I,
me to shit
I don't
on.
have the same type of compassion for him. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, it's
Because
different
he
in terms
he
of
came
the
up in the
era.
2000s. Yeah,
Yeah.
whole different era. Do you know what I'm saying? 2000s as a white man, respectfully. Like, bruh. Like, I'm not saying that your life wasn't hard, but I can't see that because he's a role player as well, respectfully, whereas she had to work to fight to be a star in an era that wasn't admiring women or black women or soul singers. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like she's coming off of
Wait,
just
Diane
after
Warren's a
the,
white woman.
or sorry, I, okay, I have a hot take about not her specifically, but the women that she's writing with and working with. Do you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
not
like Whitney
plugging that
Houston.
in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. So, like, I know that some of the money was going to some of them. I've seen stories, exposés, whatever, like, whatever. I just think as a woman, it was more difficult for her to travail in the system that she was in. But I'm not excusing this. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying I could see it a little bit more with her. Again, just a little bit more.
No,
Just a little
I
bit.
look. I don't have a. Well, I do have a problem with what she did, but I don't have. My problem right now that I'm bringing up has to do with the net worth versus how they justify not paying collaborators fairly. And it's like,
I've heard that she paid her background singers really well. I've heard I've heard that like I've heard interesting stories about her that would almost offset some of this. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially in the way that she treated women. So then I'm wondering if it's you're a young man, whatever, you'll get over it type thing versus like, I'm a girl's girl. I'm gonna look out for the girls and these men can just figure it out. Do you know what I'm
but
saying?
was
That's
it
why I'm
equity
thinking about,
based?
what'd you
Because
say?
that was the thing. Was it an equity thing? Because this wasn't even really a money thing with the tank situation. It was just, it
That's
was a
actually, you're
matter of,
so right. You're right. I don't know. I don't know if that's maybe a power play now. Now that you're so right. Cause it's not like she had to pay him more. Huh.
yeah, it would just be a registration. So
Maybe I'm
that's my
not,
issue.
maybe I'm not on Diane's side now. Interesting.
Because that's why I compared it to the Ross Golan thing, because he wasn't paying either. All it was,
You're
hey,
very
you
right.
contributed to this song. Without you, this song doesn't
Mm,
exist in its final form. Here's something, not financially. Here's equity. So everybody, like, I'm gonna win more, but I'm gonna
the
give
natural
you
splits.
something for
Yep.
the future. This song might become a hit, and if it does, cool. We all succeed together. So that's
You're
always
you're right. That may be a thing where it's like, well, I pay my people well, but I'm not giving up any equity. And it's like when you start to look at it, it's just a different way of like colonizing the crops. You're trying to make it look like it's not. It's like the NBA. I won't get into this because folks gonna really come for me. It's like professional athletes, and I'm like, yeah, but they still have, yeah. Yeah, okay, okay. I see. That's so, thank you for putting that in perspective, Payne, because I was like, oh, well, I've heard she was a girl's girl. I don't know if that's true, but
no.
I was
And I think
thinking maybe
she's
that's it. But now that I'm starting to think about it, I'm like, that didn't cost her anything to be more kind or like thoughtful in how she could give people a part of what was going on. Same, yeah, that was my thing with Ross. I'm like, bro, this don't even hurt you. Like, chill.
yeah. Yeah, no, and that's my thing. If it doesn't hurt you, why? Like to bring it back to Bad Bunny, could he get more for a residency? I'm sure he could probably do what Gaga's doing in Puerto Rico and make 100 million for a residency, or maybe 60. But either way, I doubt he's making that much off of his residency. So to put it into perspective, my guess is he knows he has enough money. He doesn't need an extra 10 million. It's not going to change his life. So he's just going to do what he does, and he's doing it in a way that strategically benefits his community. But yeah, with Diane Warren, like, and people, she is. I used to listen to a progressive radio show, and she would be a regular guest, and I liked her personality. Then I heard the tank stuff, and then some of her recent kind of selective feminism. It's
Oh,
just all bad.
I
Like a
haven't
lot
heard
of my
anything recent, but I could almost assume because it's like unless you are hell bent on continuous progression, you can kind of fall by the way. I'm gonna look it up. I want to see. Interesting.
just a lot of my heroes have been revealed as villains lately. So I've had a existential crisis lately where I'm like, man, I can't even listen to this person. I can't buy this product. I can, but here we are.
I love that you do that. I know we need to change subjects, but I'm very much like, oh, I'm not buying this thing. I'm not listening to this person anymore. And people will start to do, play the music or whatever. And I'll be like, no, 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 I need you to turn this off if you're around me. Like, do what you want on your own time. And they'll be like, oh, are you taking it that serious? It's been this amount of time. I'm like, that doesn't redeem them.
Mm-mm.
Like,
No, and they're talking about
like,
pedophiles and racists.
yeah,
And,
like, is there like a break we take from pedophiles or
yeah,
abusive humans? Like, we just take a break and then we can go back to that abuse? Like, no, they were writing this in the process of that. And unless there's like real contrition and repentance and like life completely turned around, restitution paid to all the people, no, because this is exactly what the colonizers do. They'll be like, oh, let's just take a break from remembering that we're racist.
yeah,
Aren't we all friends? Like, no, beloved, like y'all fucked us up for real bad. Like, I'm super cool on this. I'm not coming back to y'all until you show with, again, resolve, restitution, all that there's something different here. Yeah, I'm grateful to hear that, because I think sometimes people be like, oh, you're so extreme. And I'm like, is that
yeah.
extreme?
No, that's
Like,
the problem. That it's not extreme enough. I don't know if people have blinders on when it comes to history, and it's like you don't you don't change shit by shrugging your shoulders and saying, this is inconvenient for me. That's never been how it's happened. And it's like, okay, cool. If that's who you are, if you're not a change maker, if you're not a person that gives a fuck, then just say that. But a lot of people will cover themselves with this blanket of reality. I'm just being realistic. Let's be realistic here. I can only do what I can. And it's like,
or let me
you don't
separate the
have
art
to be
from the
at Target right
artist.
now.
Yeah, yeah. Let me separate the art from the artist. Or
Yeah.
I need to go to Target. Like, I can't save the world. Like, that's cool. I'm not asking you to save the world, but like, there's been like, I was so gung ho. I actually had stuff I needed to return to get my own money back, but I just didn't want to be seen in the store as
Mm-hmm.
if I'm like giving people permission to be here. And I'm not judging you if you're in there. Do what you do. But I'm just letting you know, especially if you're like a young person and you can figure it out. Even Amazon, I just have to be like, I'm not fully off of Amazon. I can't say that I'm trying, but it's like, I have done less orders in the last 6 months than I had done like in the month prior. Like, that's a great drastic drop off. I've just been figuring it out, or like, well, I'm just going to pay more for this thing, or I'm just going to go without. It's like, that's the cost of change. Like, it can't always just be convenient. And everybody's so
Right.
used to things being so convenient that they're like, well, what do you expect me to do? I'm like,
That's a fact.
try. Just like try. That's what I expect. I expect you to try. I'm not asking for perfection. I'm not asking for stonewall. I'm just saying, try to do something a little bit different. Try to get outside of your comfort zone to make a difference, because it does make a difference. You may not see it right away, but don't be selfish. It makes a difference. At least practice some self-control. Like, damn.
No, convenience is everyone's downfall. I swear. Everyone. And to bring it back to the Music Entrepreneur Club, how many people get comfortable with their convenience and let their careers just collapse, or they're comfortable with not really with whatever situation they find themselves in that keeps them away from pursuing their dream, because becoming a musician is not at all comfortable, nor is it a matter of convenience. It's the opposite. It's uncomfortable. It's inconvenient, sorry. And you have to come to grips with the fact that you might put yourself in this state of discomfort and inconvenience for a long time, for longer than you can anticipate, without seeing results. And a lot of people
That's
aren't
the
built for
thing.
that.
You're inconvenienced for longer than you can see results, and therefore say it's not worth it. That's something
Yeah,
even for me that I have to like challenge myself on. Like, am I married to the result or my perception of what the result is going to be? Or am I really down for the journey? And it's like, that's
yeah,
something that we all got to evaluate. And then sometimes it's like, I'm not down for this journey. And then you pivot. But yeah,
yeah.
that's a really important point.
Well, then that's why we all say, when you're young, just go for it. That's the saddest part. When I see young people that are talented, And like, nah, I want to do this over here. I want to do that over there. And like, just wait until you're 30, or just wait until you fuck around and have a kid and things change, or just wait until something happens where suddenly you need to prioritize making money to address some issue in your life, and watch what's going to happen. You're going to feel regret. But otherwise, you could have just been a kid and went from 18 to 25 just going hard, and maybe at 25 you're like, this music stuff isn't for me, or at 25 you're like, you know what, I just made $1 million without realizing it because I was just having fun and focusing on my goals and not all this other extraneous bullshit, and I can now live with no regrets. How many aging artists, producers, whoever are right now surrounded by a loving family, mad as hell that they squandered their time in their adolescent years. So speaking of squandering time, the Shade Room reported on this. Academics reported on this. It's an interesting situation. Generally, when we see controversies like this, it's because the rapper isn't paying the producer. There's some kind of conflict that the rapper starts, like Kanye West not paying his producers. That was a big controversy, and it continues to be one. This is the opposite, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you know the rapper Yungeen Ace? And he's big. I don't think he's not big. I just chose the network.
Do you know a song that he has?
He has a lot of songs. I don't think
I'll look him up.
Yeah, he's not like a hit single, but as you can see in the caption, he's mentioning Rod Wave and NBA Youngboy.
Oh, so he's coming up though for sure.
This is just to put things into perspective. So essentially, what's going on is a producer who has worked with Rod Wave and NBA Youngboy apparently is charging Ace more than he's charging them. Somehow he found out. We get very little backstory. They don't even tell us who the producer is, but this conversation is going viral. And I guess I'm not, I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I want to hear yours first. So this is just part of the conversation where I guess him and the producer's on FaceTime.
Bro, I don't be taxing, bro. No, but I'm saying, no, you said that though. So I'm trying to figure out what are you getting at when you say that? But you said it for them. So what are you getting at? I'm trying to speak on their behalf. All right, now continue speaking then. What when you say that, what are you saying though? You trying to say I ain't on shit? That what you trying to say? That's what you trying to say. You trying to say I'm not on that level? That's what you saying? Oh, bro, they just said that shit. Look, are they trying to say I'm not on their level? He's saying they bigger artists. You saying they bigger artists? That's what you saying? No, they not trying to say that. They just saying they work more. No, you said that. Hey, mind you, you just said that. Bitch ass nigga on Yungeen Ace. What you saying? Fuck you talking about? I'm gonna tell Yungeen Ace go harder than Rod Wave. I'm gonna tell Rod Wave, and I'm gonna tell Young Boy to tell y'all ass. Y'all trying to charge them $20,000 and trying to charge me this and trying to charge niggas under us this. Then that's what you're saying. Now, what if Young Boy and Rod Wave don't use the beats no more? Then what? That's them, bro. I don't be taxing.
So it's an interesting conversation. Very interesting. Obviously heated. This is the type of the stuff that happens a lot in the business between producers and rappers. And it's unfortunate. I don't think this is the most disrespectful interaction, though, on either side. So I'm not looking at it from that perspective. I'm looking at it more in terms of communication. But what are your thoughts, Erinn?
I'm kind of confused why he's upset that he's getting charged a different price for the same beat. I'm going to be honest, because that's like standard practice, And it typically has to do with the relationship that you have with the person, not necessarily how big they are, but 100% know that producers will be like, yeah, bro, like, take the beat. It's fine. Just take the beat. I just want credit. Don't take my tag off. Like, but we'll have the beat up for sale for $500, $750, whatever. And then I also know, it's like to even get a pack from Metro Boomin, you usually have to put up significant money right now. I'm talking about like 6 figures. And that's if you get in contact with the right people, then you get the pack. Then if you choose the song, they have to hear this song you still have to pay for the beat. It's a whole process, right? Like, I know at least one artist that's gone through this process. And that's just if they send you the pack. But there's a lot of artists who can just go into the studio with Metro and just record, like a Future or a 2 Chainz or a Young Thug. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you could just get in this studio and just record these songs, and he's not like, hold up. Where's my 100K? Let me, you know what I'm saying? It's just like different rules apply to different people. That's why the music industry is the wild, wild west. So that's first my like take, backed up as somebody who's had to negotiate on the side of producers and on the side of artists before. Like, I've seen it. I seen an artist who, or a producer who charges 1,000 per beat charge my artist 300 because she was using his beats regularly. But then after a while, he's like, dang, even though you're using my beats regularly and you're signed to an independent label, that recoup be taking a really long time. So he was like, hey, sis, love you. Gotta bring you back up to 1,000, right? But in his mind at first, he's like, I'm gonna do this a solid to my sis because I'm on her album 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I've done all her singles. She's bringing me as an engineer, so I'm getting paid to engineer this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just like things change. There's no quite clear answer from the producer. So it seems like he's saying he does do this, but I can't necessarily find fault. I feel like this is more of an ego conversation with the rapper where he's upset that he's getting charged a different rate. And respectfully, I know exactly who Rod Wave and NBA Youngboy are, not just by name recognition. Immediately, songs from both of them play in my head, and I don't necessarily, I love Rod Wave's the best. That's my favorite Rod Wave song.
Yeah.
But NBA Youngboy, I have a handful of tracks that I listen to kind of regularly. I wouldn't say that I rock with either of them super heavy, but I ain't never heard of bro until this clip. Do you know what I'm saying? Respectfully. So it's like, I could see how it would benefit. And then to the, especially with Youngboy, if Youngboy is using your beats regularly, I'm giving Youngboy all the discounts because Youngboy owns everything, which means I'm getting a better bust down. I'm probably getting part of the master. He's putting out songs like, you know what I'm saying? At one point he was dropping like a mixtape a month. Like, yeah, I'm not seeing it. I can't necessarily empathize with the rapper, but I get why he's upset because it's probably new news to him that he's not respected at the same level, but that's more about business. That's not like a personal respect thing, in my opinion. And he may just be feeling disrespected.
I think it's safe to say he's feeling disrespected. And I think it's also safe to say that he and the producer have a decent enough relationship where they can get on FaceTime, but it did seem like they weren't friends. It was a business relationship. They probably haven't met in person. If they have, it was all business, just the way they were talking with each other, you know. But having said that, Yungeen Ace is signed to Cinematic. NBA Youngboy he was on Atlantic, right? And now he's completely DIY. And Rod Wave is on, what is Rod Wave on? Columbia?
That sounds about right.
I gotta be accurate. Where is Rod Wave signed? He's on Alamo, which is under the Interscope umbrella. I'm pretty sure Interscope is UMG. Okay, so Rod Wave is UMG. I don't know about NBA Youngboy's situation with splits and everything, but prior to that, I mean, if he was on a label, the label pays out for the beats. They have the budget for the beats. They are contracting the producer. They're sending that money to the producer. Here's what I don't understand. All right. People in the comments are saying, and I think you even said that Rod Wave and NBA Youngboy do higher numbers, so you should charge them less for beats. And I understand that that's one way of looking at it. But because Ace isn't signed to a major, I think
he is now. It's they have a deal with Geffen.
Who does?
Yungeen Ace. I'm reading on his.
Okay, so he's
So
now
he got first
calling.
signed to Cinematic in 2018, and then in 2022 he went up to Geffen because he ended up with two records on the Billboard 200.
Okay, so now he's affiliated with an imprint on a major. Okay, so then now that begs the question: are these rappers paying for their own beats out of pocket, or how is this working, or are they getting a budget? I think probably a lot of them are at that level. Like you're not a Drake or a Kendrick. Like you probably are still pretty hands on with the budgets that you get, or a lot of
For
rappers still
sure.
prefer to just buy the beat. They have better deals with labels in the sense that they can control when they drop stuff. So like, this is a song, I already invested in it. This song is dropping. And with streaming, I guess that's another benefit of the streaming system, where it's not like the labels have to press stuff up and wait for release dates and this and that. They can just drop more liberally. But the other thing, like, why wouldn't you charge, just in the grand scheme of things, why wouldn't you charge an independent rapper less? Because like the justification is, if I produce a record for I don't know, let's use two real world examples. Artists I'm always working with, Ted Park, and here's an artist over here, Rod Wave. Rod Wave is signed to a major. He wants a beat from me. They're offering 10,000. Okay, cool. I'll take 10,000. That's typical for an artist of that level. Ted over here says, "Hey, I just got this 5K advance for an EP. I'll give you 500 for the beat." I'm not going to be like, "Wait a minute, I need 15,000 because I'm going to make even more off the Rod Wave royalties because he streams higher than you." That part doesn't make sense, because it's like, you're making more. There's way more money over here, so the advance naturally is higher. Or you could say, oh, it's naturally lower. I think that's a stupid way of looking at it, because recoupment math will shave a lot of that off. So you should get a higher advance. But when you're working directly with someone that, or even indirectly with someone that has way less earning potential, I don't know. How I would do business is I would communicate more directly with Ace and just be like, all right, let's work something out. And I would charge less, especially when it gets to that point where, I'm on the phone getting yelled at. Clearly there's some kind of communication breakdown. So that conversation would need to be calmed down, number one. And number two, I'm reading Ace's energy. He's offended. I would be trying to talk through this and turn it from a potentially volatile conversation into a renegotiation scenario. Like, okay, what would make this better for you? Because clearly, like, I'm not gonna burn a bridge with a rapper that number one is streaming in the millions and number two is paying for beats from me. That's crazy. Just because I'm not getting an extra couple thousand, or whatever it is, if I'm making a living off this artist and this rapper is consistently buying beats from me, I'm gonna cherish that relationship.
I feel like by the time it gets to the internet, or by the time it gets to him yelling at you on FaceTime, it's like, it's too late. But you're applying business logic and a mature sensibility to an ego trip. I think, too, you got to think that kids, I don't know how old bro is. Let me not assume he's a kid. But this, like, okay, there's a clip that's going viral right now where there's a fan who brought SZA a Louis Vuitton bag, right? Like, they're front row, she's singing to them. They're trying to hand her the box with the duster in the bag. And she's like, no, there's not Louis Vuitton in there. And they're like, yes, it is. And she's like, no, there's not. And then they're like, yes, it is. And she's like, I'm not going to take that. You keep that, but I want to come meet you backstage. And then she tells her security, give them a backstage wristband. I'll see them after. Right. So a lot of the comments are like, what are y'all doing in life to where you can afford to give a super rich person a very expensive gift, right? So this is what it seems like, kind of some of the same logic. I won't say it's like induced with fanfare, but could be where it's like you're saying, why is it that you're giving the bigger person the bigger discount? And it could be maybe a loyalty thing too. Maybe Rod Wave and, NBA Youngboy were rocking with him early. Again, I think it's a situation to where when he mentioned them, he's like, well, what if they don't use your beats anymore? He may know them and be like, don't use bro's beats anymore because he tried to do me dirty. But I think it's just more of ignorance of the game. He's trying to apply somewhat street logic, but I still feel like it doesn't apply that way because you're still going to give the head honcho more love than somebody who's pulling up. But I don't know. It's just, I think I get how you're thinking about it. I wasn't even saying I agree with it. I understand why somebody would be like, oh, they're a bigger artist. This may get my name out there more versus just building with somebody. And it could have just been like, he was just trying his luck. Like, 50,000, and then and then dude finds out he only charges Rod Waving them 20,000, but he's charging them 50,000. But yeah, I mean, this sounds like a budget conversation. Like he probably has a certain amount of budget, so he's working with these type of people. Because when you start talking about 20, 30, 40,000 for a beat, immediately I'm like, that's got to be label budgets. Because even artists making really good money, I know a lot of them don't want to spend more than $5,000 for a beat. And a lot of them won't spend more than $1,000 or $1,500 for a beat because they're like, I got a homeboy who can make this beat or recreate it. I'm talking about, I know artists making several $100,000 exclusively off streams every year, and they won't spend more than $1,000 on a beat. And even then they're like, I really only like to do $750. I'll give you a couple more points on the master. Cause they're like, I got options. You know what I'm saying? I could hit BeatStars if anything. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think bro is just
and
ego.
that's what I mean. So I'm always telling producers to be flexible, and it goes back to the Diane Warren Ross Golan thing, right? We as producers have gotten traditionally mistreated and disrespected, and so a lot of us, now that we have these options, we have beat leasing, we have the internet, we have a global market, we have all of these different ways to monetize and control our business more as producers and control, what we get paid for beats. Some of us start getting greedy and we start getting inflexible because we're like, well, we perceive these rappers as having more than us, so let's squeeze everything out of this situation that we can. And it's like, well, that's not sustainable. And someone might end up at, again, I have no idea who the producer in this situation with Yungeen Ace is, but that situation can come up with anybody where they realize, okay, something's not right with the pricing. I'm going to confront this person. There's a communication breakdown, and it potentially ends the whole relationship. And it's like, why end that relationship? So in the situation that you brought up, where it's a rapper that's making hundreds of thousands off streaming, I mean, look, man, try to look at those situations. I mean, unless it's such a crazy disparity, or the deal they're offering is so disrespectful with no equity. If it's a situation where they're offering $1,000 and equity, what are your goals? What are your financial goals? If you sell them a beat every month for $1,000, how does that play into your overall revenue model? You know what I mean? And is that something that's working well for you? Can you scale up from there? Is it help? Because a lot of people will throw away a decent relationship over being offended by something that they perceive as a slight, when in reality, the situation benefits them more than it's hurting them by a long shot. And we just need discernment. We have to determine whether or not that situation is worth burning a bridge over or it's not. Most situations are not, most disagreements aren't worth burning bridges over. And I feel like the ironic part is the people will burn a bridge that they do want to cross, and the people will maintain a bridge and invest everything in that bridge, and that bridge is leading to nowhere. I see that all the time. It's
I
weird.
mean,
It's
this
like our
does seem like
discernment
that
is.
situation. He's burning a bridge, and it's like Young Boy and Rod Wave may have no loyalty to him. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I don't know the situation. But yeah, the
Yeah, I don't know where
not
the
being
ego
able to
lies. I don't know
assess
who's right
what's
or
a
wrong
good
in the
bridge and a
situation.
bad bridge. I don't think you should burn any bridges. Honestly, you could put a blockade for a boundary if need be. But yeah, I just never know.
Yeah, and I'm certainly not telling producers to be cowards and don't stand up for yourself. But if there's a rapper that I'm making a lot of music for, we're making a lot of money together, and it's a difference between me continuing to make 25,000 a year just working with that rapper, or me making 40,000 a year working with that rapper. What's realistically, take the 25, and that's just part of your overall revenue model. What's the if you're consistently working with them, what's the real problem? If they have a problem with how much you're charging, or if they call you up and say, I notice you're charging this person more, okay, you know what, let's talk about this, because I value this relationship more than these actual numbers. Or maybe we can communicate our way around it. Maybe I can say, you know what, I'll charge you what I'm charging. I'll charge you less than what I'm charging them, but because we have a closer relationship, I want 15% on the sound recording side rather than 5. Does that work for you? Just figure it out. I mean, if you're on the phone with somebody to the point where they're getting upset, like visibly upset about a situation, then you're in a position to speak with them and at least attempt to diffuse the situation and make it favorable for everyone involved. That's just me. I know something like, I don't think either of them were like, the rapper was kind of crashing out a little more than the producer, but I also feel like the producer just wasn't in the mood to communicate. I'm like, what's really going on here? Because Ace is getting charged up and the producer's just like, yeah, well, that's how I feel.
He probably was caught off guard, and then it's just like, how do you explain? I just charge everybody differently. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like a literal, I can see being like, cause you're just like flooded with somebody who's highly emotional about this, and you're just like, that's just what I do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a tough situation.
Yeah, but I've seen that, but it's like, I don't know. It sounds like both of them are just, they both need to refine the way they communicate. Like Ace needs to calm down, and the producer, whoever he is, needs to do the opposite of calming down and clearly communicate and offer solutions, right? Because getting mad isn't going to help, and then just kind of going, well, that's just how it is, isn't going to help either.
Truly.
But what is going to
When you're
help?
charged up in a group full of people, though, do you know what I'm saying?
That's the other thing. Yeah, the friends in the
With the
background.
camera on you, you got to
Yeah,
do the thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's why
I
you need
mean,
good friends.
I'm not going to say they're bad friends, because if your friends don't hype you up like that and don't support you, but
My
also a lot
friends
of
gonna
people,
tell me, calm down before you call that person so you can have a productive conversation. My friends
it
are
started
also not
calming.
gonna film me crashing out for the sake of a viral clip. They're gonna be like, if they film it, it's just to show me how upset I was and be like, you see how unproductive this is? And I get that that comes with maturity and with age, but like, I don't think you're a good friend. And when I'm upset, especially when I need to feel upset, my friends will be like, yeah, I see why you upset. But like,
Yeah.
real friends are not going to co-sign even if you're right. You know what I'm saying? When I was getting sued, when I was pissed, my people were like, yeah. But then they were like, you're giving your power away by being this angry, and wouldn't let me put nothing on the internet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they were a healthy boundary, a healthy blockade to be like, don't put none of this anger on the internet. And I'm grateful for it, because it's like you said, that don't last. Like, I would have been giving people publicity who nobody in my world really knows. Artists that I built up, and they're fine, they doing their thing, but nobody in my real world, nobody in the Grammys aren't looking at me like, oh, Erinn went through this situation with these folks, and da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, we do all need friends like that. Definitely. Well, That being said, get your music on the platforms. Don't cuss out your producer. Don't overcharge your rapper. TwoLost.com, use the code MEC, and you can get all that music. If you're a producer, get your beats. If you're a recording artist, get your songs. Get it all up there on all the platforms. TwoLost.com, the code is MEC. 3 free months. You can get a lot of music up in 3 months, and we will catch you next time on the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. Appreciate you tuning in. Peace.